Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon from wherever in the world you're joining us today, and welcome to another SpunkGo webinar. Today's speaker is Mary Tadros. She is the CFO and business consultant at Quality Care Psychiatry. It is my greatest pleasure to welcome Mary to speak about the importance of mental health in achieving professional and personal success. Just a side note, Q&A will be done through the chat feature after our presentation, where she will answer questions. SpunkGo is an all-girls global student organization where all proceeds go to charity. And with that, the floor is now yours, Mary.
Thank you so much, Natra, for the introduction. I'm so glad to be here. You're doing awesome stuff, and I'm excited to be here. I hope that you can see my screen good and clear. If anything, just let me know. And I would love to start by, I know the topic today would be mental health, and we're talking about the well-being for, how to be an empowered woman in business and how to conquer the world. And I'm excited about that. I would love to first know, who's here. If you guys can give quick introductions about yourselves, whoever is courageous enough, please just unmute yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What are you studying? What do you want to accomplish in the future? That would be awesome. Like just a 30 seconds introduction from anyone who's willing to participate.
Okay, hello dear. I'm Sunaina. I'm from Pakistan. I am an educationist and I always try to learn something new. Psychology is my favorite subject and I studied at my own and I try to help other people as much as I can. And this is one of the steps which is going to help me in future. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Nice to meet you. All right. I will give it another 10 seconds if someone wants to introduce themselves.
We do have a few responses coming in the chat box, if I should read them out. Yeah.
Please, I cannot really see it right now.
Yeah, so we have Mutsa Violet from Zimbabwe studying a BSc honors degree in environmental science and health. They're a student activist as well as a climate justice activist and mental health champion. We have Mafia from Pakistan, recently graduated in psychology and wants to become a successful and nice sociologist who is helpful to society.
Awesome. That's awesome. So I'm very excited about like the variety of the people we have online. That's amazing. I will let you know the QR code that you see on the screen. This is just like all my links. I would love to stay in touch. Please reach out anytime. I would love to stay connected with you all. So just a little bit of introduction about myself. I'm a humble girl. I come from a background. I was born in Zambia, so I'm very excited about the student from Zimbabwe because Zambia, right here, I was born in Zambia and I lived there with my parents, and then we moved to Egypt because they're originally from Egypt. And we've stayed there for about 17 years or so, but I've been in the US right now for 14 years. And I've always had big dreams, okay? Like just crazy dreams. And one of them was to go to Harvard one day. And I remember my 13-year-old self walking on the campus one day. We were on vacation. And a friend of my parents, she comes in and she says, "Oh, Mary, come with me to Harvard." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm 13 years old. I'm in seventh grade. Like, this is just impossible." And she said, "You look old enough, and it's the first week you can come and try courses, and it's where students come and go just to try which courses they want to sign up for and which professors and subjects they like." Anyways, I go and I love the place, and I tell myself, "Mary, one day you're going to graduate from Harvard." So of course, coming from a third world country, I can almost hear everybody laugh at me in my brain, like this is just impossible. Go back to your country and forget about it. And honestly, that's what happened. I want go back to Egypt. I stayed there, but 20 years fast forward from that dream, I actually got into Harvard, all by the grace of God and by the support of my family. I got my master's in finance. I got two professional graduate level certifications, one in corporate finance, one in data analytics. And I was awarded the Dean's List of Academic Achievement. So I'm a complete hard worker and nerd and love to be, among successful women and successful girls dreaming to achieve big dreams in the future. So I've also had my bachelor in business administration, and I am a professional speaker. And it is awesome to be a professional speaker. It gets you the chance to be in front of different groups of people, talk about different subjects, and mental health is one of the very important subjects that I love to talk about. I am USA board certified mental health coach, and I love doing those sessions. I love talking about mental health. It is very important for us to give it the priority that it does deserve in our lives. Also, I have experience of about 13 years now in different things, whether it's the business consultation, marketing, financial, mental health coach. It's just kind of a background to give you. The work I've done is a lot in the Arab world as well as the US, but I've worked with companies in Vietnam and Philippines and everywhere, I want to say, outside and inside of the Arab world and the USA. So let's talk first about the challenges. There are some challenges to being powerful people or successful people or to be a leader. Whether so being a leader doesn't really have to be that I'm a business owner and I own a business. For example, being a leader is just even if I am starting my way. I'm in high school. I am still doing some jobs here and there. I work in a pharmacy or a supermarket or something. I can still be a leader in whatever position I'm at. Even in this discussion, anybody, anyone from you could be a leader right now, right? It doesn't have to be the host or the guest speaker. Everybody can be a leader in whatever position they are in. But to be a leader, it is tough, right? You have to know that mental health and taking care of your well-being does actually make a difference, right? So we can say that some challenges that come along the way in our lives are things like stress or uncertainty, just not knowing what's happening in 1 hour or tomorrow or in 1 week, or just having to take some difficult decisions. Sometimes you are faced with decisions that are big, and you want to make sure that you take the right decision to write your future in the way that you have in your mind and how you want your future to be shaped. But those decisions sometimes come so quick. Like today, you have to choose your major. You have to choose which company you're going to do internship with. You have to decide which community services you want to join, which people you have to sit around, or which friends do you need to pick. Those decisions sometimes are big or small, but they are important. So we need to know that taking care of our mental health, it just makes a profound difference. It just helps us to stay grounded. It helps us to stay balanced. So if I'm grounded and balanced, nothing really will come my way that would shake my well-being or shake even my logic or shape my reasoning to see clearly the situation, right? So if I'm super stressed and really uncertain and really kind of hesitant in so many things in my life, if this decision comes my way and now I have to take a big decision regarding something, I'm not already stable and balanced and grounded to go ahead and decide on this big issue that I get faced with. So it's just a matter of being ready for what's next. Okay. So let me tell you something. Also, I am the owner of a company here in the United States. It's called Strategic Amelioration. And for example, being an owner is, it just puts some extra stresses on you, right? Some extra decisions that you need to take in your life. But I found out that once you take care of your mental health, you are ready to take those big decisions, even if it's not only about you, but now they involve your family, they involve your company, they involve your community, your charity work, your volunteer work. It's just that every year, every week, every month in your life, you might find yourself having extra responsibilities. And once you keep this in mind from like every day and you keep it a priority in your life, then nothing would come in and kind of shake or reshape your mind and your peace. Okay. So challenges with leadership, you guys know Oprah Winfrey. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Yeah, so very powerful woman, and she's done a lot of achievements, a lot of stuff. But then her ability to connect deeply with people, through their interviews, her interviews or business, it has been a really cornerstone for her success, right? Her emotional intelligence, her mental clarity. It just enables her to navigate those challenging situations and make impactful decisions. So, Oprah herself has spoken about the importance of meditation, self reflection in her daily routine. So, she emphasizes how mental health allows her to just stay focused and stay energized, right? So there is a quote that I like. I always like to give you some quotes because whether they're anonymous or we do have the writer of the quote, it just gives us a little extra depth to the subject we're discussing. So there is a quote that says, "Your mental health is just as important as your physical health because what goes on inside your mind determines what happens in your life." So this is very important. We have to really give it a priority. So you asked me, Mary, are you saying a priority just as important as me going to my primary care, even as important as me taking my vitamins, doing an x-ray if my arm really hurts or something like that? Yes, it's that important, right? So just think about this quote, and it's important to just emphasize that a sound mind, it does lead to better decision making and overall success in my life. All right, so before I jump into the second point, I would love to hear from you guys. Do you think, is there any challenges that you feel are hard or kind of in the way of you reaching the perfect mental health well-being in your life? I would love it if anybody writes in the chat or just unmute yourself. Natra, you'll let me know if anything comes in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll give it 10 more seconds. Maybe somebody wants to add something, a challenge that they feel there is.
So Maitri, sorry if I'm butchering your name, but procrastination, expectation from others, worrying about what other people think of me. Opportunity says sometimes we just become so overwhelmed and focus on our work and neglect ourselves.
Okay, very nice. I love all of those points, very important, like feeling like I need to please the people around me and yeah, getting overwhelmed by the tasks I have to do, and then sometimes procrastination is like always on our mind or something that we do.
Mm-hmm. As well as anxiety towards every aspect of life, failing to have positivity, being a lot of pressure on yourself, facing there are less opportunities in my city, and there are also financial issues,
Yes.
Can
lack
I
of
also
awareness.
contribute?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a social worker. So when I was implementing the food strategic mitigation strategy, I had a challenge when I was servicing people from rural areas because there were people there who were mentally ill, but they defaulted on their medication. So it was very hard to control those people, and they were aggressive. And sometimes I would have a burnout or mental breakdown when I come back home, and I actually cry over petty issues. So the way I had to deal with that challenge was I engaged my supervisor, who told me some tips on how to handle the issues. And also I made sure that when I'm servicing a village with a mentally ill person, I would engage the relatives and the community health workers to be mediators so that they manage the aggression. And that's how I overcame it.
Very, very nice. Thank you for sharing.
There's a few more things in the chat. Lack of awareness regarding the significance of mental health. Greatest challenge, lack of confidence during presentations.
Okay. Very good. Anything else, Natra, in the chat?
No, not yet.
Okay, perfect. All right, I see. I really appreciate all your points here. I really love this to be interactive as much as possible, and everything that you've added is something that's almost on everyone's list, right? Something like pressure or from on myself or from other people, or how would I please people around me, or things like anxiety, or just so many points that touches a lot of us, right? And oh, I was able to open the chat, so I'm so happy. Now I can see it and it's not interfering with the presentation. So maybe I'll help you there, Natra, if we miss anything. Okay, so that's awesome. So you guys mentioned many challenges, and then some of you even mentioned some of the solutions, right? The practical solutions. So I love that. So let's see some strategies, right? So Sarah Blakey is the founder of Spanx, the very well-known brand, and she's a very successful leader. But we will share one of her quotes. But I want to say that something practical for us to put ourselves in this mental state of taking care of myself and of my mental health, it just is something like mindfulness and stress management, right? So, for example, meditation. If I practice mindfulness through meditation or some quiet reflection, it is very effective way to reduce stress. So I sometimes tell people it's almost like you're freezing time. Yes, sometimes because the pace of today's life is very, very fast. It's very rapid. It's very quick. It's overwhelming. There are so many things going on, right? Yes, I get a heart here. I see some people are relating to what's happening. But honestly, freeze time. Yes, sometimes you just have to freeze time. So this mindfulness and this meditation, I really don't care where you are at, but sometimes you need to block yourself off of the computer screen or the phone or the TV or whatever you're doing, and give yourself the grace to pause for a few minutes. Even when you come back home, don't get into this rush of everything needs to be done. Maybe just give yourself the grace to sit quietly for 10 minutes or for 15 minutes. For example, me being a Christian, I give this time for me, for my prayers, for my Bible. Everybody can relate in their own way, but you need to give yourself this quiet meditation. Quiet, no kids, no brothers, no sisters, no mom, no dad, just you and yourself and your peace and your well-being, mental well-being, right? So it just allows you to clear your mind and to focus on the present moment, right? No matter what, 1 minute, 10 minutes, it will make a huge difference, but try to do it every day. All right? Something like building self-confidence, for example. So look at your inner confidence. And people mentioned this in the chat. And we need to silence our self-doubt. So for example, the person that said I get difficulties during presentations or things like that, really many times you just need to talk to yourself and say, no, you are good. You know what you're talking about. Just talk to yourself and silence your self-doubt. When you're going into a task at school, at work, at even helping out, volunteering to the community around you, you will have self-doubt. Self-doubt is not really just at work or just at school, but just keep talking to yourself. Just encourage yourself, educate yourself that yes, you can do this. Yes, you have the skills, you have the capabilities. Just go ahead, do it. Have the confidence. Success stories, like the founder of Spanx, for example, it just shows the importance of mental strength. She started with a very simple idea, But then through her perseverance, her self-belief, she turned it into a billion-dollar company, right? This could be anybody. This could be any of us, right? Any one of us. So, and you know, her understanding of the customer psychology, for example, was really instrumental in her success. So, you know how we're talking today about my well-being and my psychological well-being. I want to tell you that once you study more into mental health and understand it more, this can actually be reflected in your interactions with others, whether it's your interaction with a colleague that you have a project with, or whether it's an interaction with a school, with like work, for example, colleague or school colleague. It just gives you the power to actually be able to even deal with people on the right level and understand their psychology and then reach the success for the whole project, right? So for example, if you decide to open a project for you, like a little business, you're doing accessories or you're doing bracelets, you need to understand your psychology and work on it, your mental well-being. But then once you understand your client's psychology, this will help you to sell the bracelet, right? Once you understand your competitors, who is in the market, what are they doing, why are they doing this? Once you do the market analysis and then you analyze psychologically even your competitors, then you know how to make your business successful. Then you know how to sell your products, right? So it's not only understanding your psychology, but then furthermore, we need to take it along to the people that you're dealing with, right? On your day-to-day basis. So we just need to understand others. So for some of those strategies are just the ability to emphasize with the clients or the customers or the competitors that you can understand them, then you can speak their language or, you know, get to their heart about an issue that you want to talk about. So knowing their motivations, their struggles, or their needs, it really helps you serve them better, right? A solid mental foundation just makes all of this possible. All right, so here's the quote I was telling you about. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Again, I'm stressing this. It's just as important as mentioning it once or twice until the end of the presentation. So I love that last time when I asked about some of the challenges, some people were giving some solutions. I love that. Does anyone have more strategies that they feel they would like to share with us for our benefit? I would love to hear from you guys in the chat or just unmute yourselves.
I would like to share my experience. Whenever something triggers me, I start counting. Maybe backward counting, or I might
as
start from
people
1. So it gives me time to calm down myself and rethink. And sometimes it delays my response. So it helps
we
me a
should
lot.
limit the time that we spend on social media because we end up just scrolling and overloading our mind with things that don't overloading our brain and scrolling reduces your IQ. So let's just the same way we prioritize our
Oh, I'm not sure why two
Hello?
voice. Yes, I'm sorry. I think two people came in at the same time. Okay. Maybe Sunaina, can you go ahead one more time? And then after that, we'll do the lovely lady in pink. Okay.
Thank you, dear. Actually, I was sharing my experience that whenever something triggers me, I start counting, a slow counting, maybe backward counting, or maybe in ascending order. It gives me space to calm down, rethink what I was going to say, and it delays my response. It sometimes calms me, and it changes my thought process at the moment, and it really helps me.
I love that, Sunaina. Thank you for sharing. And yes, can you go ahead, the lady that was speaking?
Okay, hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Guys, it's Ilana again. When you're on social media, avoid scrolling or like for myself, I'm about accidents, but sometimes people over and they see things that are so disturbing, and I'll find myself stressing over something that is beyond my control, and I have a burnout. So let's avoid things that affect our minds if we're sensitive.
Yes, very important, very important. You really talked about something that's impacting all our lives every single day, right? Very important. Okay, anybody else? Thank you for sharing.
There's a few things in the chat, so I'll read them out. Praying, worshiping, and reading the Bible is a strategy that someone uses to create a mental foundation. I tell myself I can do it, and I calm myself down. I do breathing exercises, relaxation exercises. When I'm super overwhelmed, I cry if I need to, try to calm myself down and journal out my feelings and thoughts. Also distract myself by watching funny videos.
Okay, very nice. I love that. I love the breathing exercises. I really love taking the time, praying, worshiping, reading the Bible. It's very important to the journal, for example, that you guys mentioned. It's very good. Yes, anybody else?
This isn't a strategy, but social media is a very big trigger because we can't control what we see. Another strategy used to be alone or go for a walk or else listen to soft music.
Yes, perfect. I love all those ideas. Let me tell you something because you guys hit on social media a couple of times. Here's what I want to tell you, okay? And really focus with this. The time that you take today on your social media, all right, just scrolling around or, just spending some time wanting to think about nothing. If you take this time that everybody's wasting and you control yourself, you can be ahead of everybody by a year or 2 or 3. Just keep on adding this in your mind. I tell even my daughter, she's 13 years old, all right? And I tell her, right now, if you want to be in middle school or in high school and you want to be on your phone, fine. Everybody's on their phone. Everybody is on their phone. But if you control yourself and pause the time, then you will go ahead and ahead and ahead by a year, 2, 3, 4. Because if you're grabbing a book or if you're even watching the news or if you're even doing anything else that's more productive or even doing nothing, honestly, but not on the social media, your brain is progressing. Your brain is somewhere else. You're just taking so many other steps. And because of that, for example, she is the president of a club here, very famous, called NJHS. She is the communication specialist in another club, the student council. It's endless possibilities. Everything that the time that you take away from your phone and controlling yourself, you will be ahead of all other people, all of us, right? So keep this in mind. Let's be mindful and just protect our mental health, not let all our brain go in vain with all of those videos, right? So I see some people I think are still writing in the chat. I love that. I appreciate your comments there. I'll try to keep a close eye, but it's a little hard. So Netra will let me know if there's something I need to stop for. All right. The next point is something that you guys kind of hit about already. So support system and empowerment. We need to have a support system around us. We need to refrain from sitting around with people who would give you negative energy or just negativity in life or who complain a lot, or we just need to control our friends, or our time that we spend with people. Pick the right people to be surrounded with, all right? So self-empowerment includes taking care of my mental health, but just it is a form of self-empowerment, right? So it equips you to show up as your best self. You are your best self, personally, professionally, all the time. When you're mentally strong, you can handle any stresses that come your way, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's being a student, whether it's being an intern in a company that's overwhelming or that's really stressing, or being surrounded by maybe not the best team at work or not the best manager or anything that faces you, you will be ready for it, right? I need you to build a support system. You really need to have a community of mentors. You need to have good friends and peers that just lift you up. I don't care. I just want them to lift you up in whatever you're thinking about doing, right? Even if you say, oh, for example, I want to lose weight or something like that, then they would be like, yes, sure, Mary, we're going to encourage you. Let's do this. You need to, we'll encourage you, text us every day. Let us know how you're doing. I just want them to lift you up, support you on any level. For example, if it's a community and you tell a friend, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough volunteer work, or I'm not doing something for my local community, I want to be helpful. I want this friend to lift you up, to support you in what you're doing, to encourage you to spend the time in all your ambitions, right? So there is a lady called Sheryl Sandberg. She's the COO of Facebook. And she has spoken openly about her mental health challenges, okay, especially about facing personal loss, for example. So she highlights the importance of having a support system in both her personal and her professional life. This just supports entrepreneurs on all levels to stay grounded while navigating their journey. Again, if you're grounded, you're balanced, nothing comes your way and breaks your house. No, you are grounded and you are balanced all the time. Then you're ready for tomorrow's surprises. Michelle Obama, for example, has this quote. She says, we need to do a better job of putting ourselves higher on our own to-do list. If I'm not putting myself higher on that list, I'm not doing the meditation I was telling you about. I'm not going to freeze time for myself. I'm not going to care about my mental health. Then I'm prone to being reshaped or really affected by anything that comes my way, right? Creating work-life balance. This is very important. And by work, I mean whatever you're doing in your life, school, university, work, even volunteer work, anything that you're doing, it just needs to be balanced with your actual day-to-day essentials, right? So balance is really essential. One of the greatest challenges for leadership women is just finding this balance, because sometimes we define women by having to do all these tasks and we deprive them from having their own life or their own success outside of this personal life. So we are here and we need to control the narrative. All right. It's crucial to just make time for your hobbies. Just make time for self-care. Make time for your relationships. I'm not only talking about school and work and success professionally. What about relationships, right? There are some things in life that cannot wait, right? For example, if a woman wants to be married and have children, this has a cap, for example. Like if I wait till I'm 60 and I say, oh, I think I want to have kids, I don't think it will be that easy or possible. There are some limitations to our time. So let me tell you something that I find very personally maddening sometimes, okay? Because of the technology and because of the advancement in life, sometimes we feel that everything is possible. Okay? Yes, I'm with you. The sky is the limit. Jump as high as you can, be successful, reach all your goals, okay? But there are some times that at 60 I can still open a company and I can still work and I can still be in a corporate, in a big corporation, and be in a high position or something. But at 60 it's too late for me to have kids, for example. I just want you to be aware of those things, because sometimes I face people and they tell me nobody told us that. No, this is something that God created. This is something that's going to happen no matter what. So we just have to be aware of those little things. All right. Freeze time. Yes, you want to accomplish some certain things. You want to be successful professionally, but don't lose the relationships. Don't lose your goals. If you want to, have a family, just keep yourself on track. All right. And there is a lady called Ariana Huffington, and she's a great example of someone who made this shift. So after suffering from her burnouts, she founded Thrive Global, and it's just promoting well-being in the workplace, right? So her story just shows how important it is to prioritize mental health while pursuing your ambitious goals, right? So I'm keeping my ambitious goals. I'm keeping my relationships, and I know that if I want to build family or build a company or this or that, there are some limitations by nature, right? But then I'm also prioritizing my mental health all along the way, right? Some, for example, time management tips. It's I want you to prioritize your tasks that will align with your core values. Never lose your values. I don't care what project, what group, what company. You just have to know your values and stay grounded in them, right? For example, try to always in your day set aside some non-negotiable time for self-care. This is just set aside. This time doesn't belong to anybody. It just belongs to you. Okay? Learn to delegate also. If there's something you can delegate, go ahead and do it. Learn to say no. Please learn to say no. Everything needs limits in our lives. Even everything. Even if you tell me, but this is the most, noble work to do in your life. Yes, it needs to have a limit in your life. Okay, everything. Learn when to say no. Okay, so and focus on yourself. Here's another quote, and it says, "You don't have to be perfect to be amazing. Taking time for yourself is part of being successful. It's just as successful as you're studying, as you're learning, as your work experience. It's still taking care of yourself, which is really an important part in your success story. Okay? So I would love to take it now if you have some questions, and just wanting to let you know our takeaway from today is self-care, well-being, resilience will give you the confidence for success and for prosperity, right? So just keep that in mind, and let me know any questions. If you have any questions, I wanted to leave you my personal LinkedIn too. So on the right side, this is my personal LinkedIn. And here is like how it looks like. Oh, actually, I changed the picture. Sorry, guys, but this is how it looks like. Just in case if there are like 500 Mary Tadros on LinkedIn, that's me. So let me know, give me some questions, or tell me any additions you guys want to add. All your comments were just as powerful as can be. I loved all your interactions there in the chat and when you unmuted yourselves.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mary, for this presentation. I think in a world that's fast-paced as this, it's really important to take time to take care of yourself and your mental health. So we have a few questions here from the audience. The first one is, you mentioned negative support, I think in relation to support systems. How can I distinguish negative support and genuine concern or good criticism?
Very nice. I love this question. I need you to assess your overall interaction with that person, right? So if a person comes and says a certain kind of advice, right? And you're not sure if this advice is really good for you or if they're just being negative, right? I don't want you to assess this interaction. I want you to assess, how was this person with you last week, last year? Like, how long have you known this person? Because if it's a person that you've just met for 15 minutes over the past year, yes, you don't know their intentions. Yes, you're not sure. So first, assess your overall interaction with this person. But secondly, I want you to take his advice and go to someone that you know cares about you with this advice, right? So for example, you say, I want to increase my volunteer work, for example, right? Or I want to go ahead and contribute to the community. So this person comes and tells you, no, you don't have time for this. You don't need this. This will never help you professionally. This will never help you so and so. Sure, you're not sure. Are they concerned about you? And yes, you are really busy. You cannot handle this right now, or they just want to be unhelpful to you. Take this advice and go to somebody you trust. Somebody you trust could be a friend that you've known for so long. It could be a family member that's wise enough to advise you. It could be your I don't know, colleague at work, at school, anybody, right? Take this piece of advice and talk about it with somebody else, right? And then assess the situation yourself, because it's your life, your decisions. It's good to hear what people say, but I want you to end up doing what you know will be beneficial for your life.
Yeah, I think that's really important, just getting like two opinions on the same thing. The next question is, I mostly get burnt out because I'm very overwhelmed in work, so I'm not able to find a balance between personal and professional life. I think you touched on this, but just a summary of that.
Yes, I would say just put a balance. Work-life balance is not easy, because that means you might have to talk with your manager, or you might have to say no sometimes. And I know it's tricky because I don't want to lose my job. I want to look like I live and breathe my work, but that's not going to happen, right? Like, we cannot live like that. I need you to put a limit to that. Convince yourself that you can be courageous enough to actually say, no, I cannot do this task today because I have those other 10 tasks. No, I won't be able to do this by Monday because by Monday I have to have done all of those, for example. So what about, can I do it by Wednesday? Or can you put, for example, Netra on the project with me so that we can get all of these things done? Start to talk to yourself that yes, you can do it. You can have those difficult conversations and just limit work-life balance, right?
Yeah, completely agree. So following on to something that you mentioned in your answer, I love learning to say no, but how do you say it without hurting people?
Are you asking for work and school situations, or are you asking for like friendships or volunteers or stuff?
The question does not specify, but let's go with both.
Okay. All right. So professionally, to say no professionally, like I told you, it's a skill, right? You just have to force yourself sometimes. Go ahead and force yourself and say it and stay strong. Just say it with great respect, with great professionalism at work or at school, right? Or you can always say, like I gave you examples, like, yes, I can do this task, but I have to do it by Wednesday because by Monday I have so and so, right? So just do it a little intelligently. Try to be like smart about it. Try to mention how you're awesome at all of those other things, how you're achieving them correctly and nicely, but I have to set limits to certain things. So just do that. If it's on like friendship and, for example, community volunteering, things like that, it might be easier to say or to take the step to say. But honestly, sometimes it's just as hard as any other no that you have to say, because you feel like, oh, they're gonna look at me like I don't want to be helpful, or my family is gonna look to me like I don't care, or at this point, I don't want you to worry at all about what people are going to say, because this is you, your life, your mental health, your balance, your work-life balance. You really need to just be clear and say no. Can I say no to my mother? Yes, I can say no to my mother with great respect. Can I say no to my son? Yes, I can say no to my son. Can I say no to a colleague, to a manager, to a community organization that I help, but they're asking too much? Yes, we can say no. It's fine. It's okay, right? Just do it with like respect and grace, and it should be fine.
So I think bouncing on that again, how do we set clear boundaries without coming off as rude to other people? And what do you do if people don't respect these boundaries and keep crossing them?
So setting boundaries is very important. There is a book called Boundaries. It's really good. I really suggest you guys read it. But setting boundaries is important. And when you set boundaries, I don't want you to care about how people will perceive those boundaries, because this is your boundaries, right? So, for example, if I put a little fence over my house, right? I put a little fence and I tell my neighbors, this is my boundaries, right? But they get mad, or they get like, oh no, but we really don't like that, or oh, now you're mean, now you're, that's fine. You guys do whatever you want to do, because I'm right here. I have my fence, right? So have your mental fence right here and right there when you set boundaries, but don't worry about what they're gonna say. That's fine, they can say whatever they say. There is a boundary here. I cannot even see you. I cannot even hear your complaints about, but what about you, Mary? You were giving us like 100% of your time all the time. Yeah, it's fine. I have a boundary. I can't even hear you. My heart cannot even like suffer from your comments anyways, because I've set this mental boundary, right, to those people or to those things. So I would say if somebody's crossing those boundaries, okay, here is the tricky part, and really focus. You just have to be persistent. Say the same thing over and over and over endlessly. Okay. So here's something that happened with a client of mine. All right. For example, he sets boundaries, right? He says, no, I cannot do this, I can do that, or here's your limits in my life, right? And people just cross that boundaries. I honestly tell him, you have to say the same exact thing for 26 times. I don't care. Say the same exact thing, but don't give up. Stay persistent. Don't just say, oh, but they asked so much. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Because once you do it, you're back to like nowhere, right? You're not going anywhere. Be persistent. Say the same exact thing. People jump those boundaries. If those neighbors jump this fence, I'm saying, no, this is my fence. You cannot really let your trees come and outgrow and over my fence. No, this will not be allowed. You just keep on saying this over and over and over again, right? Just stay persistent, stay strong, because you need to protect yourself and your well-being, okay?
I think once again, bouncing off boundaries and learning how to say no. Are there ways that you can kind of identify when you're going to hit burnout or experience it?
So signs, like you mean like by yourself to kind of, or is this a question in the chat, or is this your question, Natra?
This is more a personal question, but how do you identify kind of when you hit that point where you're like, okay, I think I'm gonna burn out, something like that?
Yes, I think a good thing to follow in your life is productivity. So when you find yourself, for example, not being able to achieve many things as before in this specific time, that means you are getting, a little bit stressed and a little bit burned out. And because when you're clear and your mind is like settled and free, you can achieve so much in the same 1 hour that you can spend this task. Being burnt out and stressed about it, it takes you mentally and actual work 3 hours, for example, so just pace yourself on, oh, but I used to achieve this faster and better, because you were not burnt out, because you were more relaxed, because you were more like peaceful and not overwhelmed. So I would say monitor your productivity really well. Something else is monitor where are your weekends and where are your evenings. So if you find yourself, for example, we're busy women, we're trying to achieve a lot and conquer the world, but if I'm doing that from 8 to 5, for example, here Monday through Friday, all right, sure, but from 5 to 10 at night, what am I doing? If you are constantly thinking about your work and your volunteer work and your efforts at school or this or that, then this is burnout. If there is no weekend in your life, and here I am speaking on Saturday, right? But if there are no weekends in your life, but you need those weekends, once you find yourself constantly working, no matter, if you find yourself at 2 a.m. doing work or checking your emails while being in a park with your friends on the weekend, this is burnout, okay? This is where you really need to tell yourself, Natra, that's it. This is where it stops. 5 o'clock is mine. 5 o'clock is my time. Or Saturday or Sunday or Friday, this is my time. Even if you pick a weekday, just pick any time but just make sure that there is enough for you, right? Just time exclusively for yourself.
that was really helpful. I will definitely try to internalize that in my life. I think this is the last question we'll take, just being mindful of time. I don't want to keep everyone here for too long, but what is your opinion on therapy, and is it really helpful?
Yes, my opinion on therapy is very clear and very loud. Please, let's get professional help. Let us get professional help. So, for example, me being a board certified mental health coach, I want to say and teach you guys that this is kind of the first level, right? So this is the first level when you say, oh, okay, I want to see, do I really need to talk to someone? Do I really need some clarity? Do I really need some help? You go from here, and then when you for example, when a client comes in, I would tell them, for example, yes, you need that, or no, you don't need it at all, or yes, you need it, for example, once a month. You just need to stay grounded. Let's do it once a month. Or a client might just need more, so I would say, no, let's do it twice a month. It's just like that, right? But this is the first level, right? For example, life coach, therapy, and then even a psychiatrist, right? This is the higher level of mental health well-being. I totally encourage everybody to go as low or as high on the spectrum. So for example, a friend comes to me and she says, oh, I'm really worried, I'm really stressed, I'm so depressed. Sometimes I just tell her, you don't need to see me. Don't see a mental health coach, life coach. Go ahead and see a psychiatrist, the actual physician that writes the medications. If I need some medicines or something like that, we are in a very advanced world. We are powerful women. Nothing will stop us, right? So sometimes I say, go ahead, see a physician. Or sometimes I just say, okay, see a therapist, okay, just see a life coach. You just need somebody to keep you on track, to give you the right tricks, the right power to keep going, things like that. So I love that this is the last question. I totally encourage you to even advise your friends, your family, to go and seek this professional help. It really helps us, it's really good for you.
So I think that was a great question to end off and kind of wrap up the presentation. Thank you so much, Mary, for agreeing to come here on a Saturday at 9 a.m. And give us some life lessons on how to protect our peace and our mental health. It was an absolutely great session. Thank you to the audience as well for engaging and giving some of your own personal tips and progress with mental health. If anyone needs any more details, it'll be available on our website, www.spunkgo.com. Thank you and have a great evening ahead. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Bye.